Good evening, Gary and Andrew. Thank you for joining Lambs Media, sponsored by OnlySuperNews.com. Welcome to technically the first video in the new season of 2020/21. This is the Fans Forum online video, obviously with different circumstances happening right now. We spoke to you guys last month. How are you both doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, fine. Things are ticking over. And just spending a lot of time obviously with the family, going through the pandemic and stuff like that, so making sure everybody's okay, and obviously can't get rid of Andy and Tom, daily conversations that we have, but everything's ticking over okay.
Andrew?
Yeah, just like you said, spending time with family, which has been really good. That's the positive parts of the pandemic, I suppose. Just staying safe, but then grafting behind the scenes, like someone just said, in terms of like just preparing pre-season programmes, preparing the squad. Obviously that's coming together really well. I'm delighted with the squad that between the three of us that we put together, and I've got to give a shout out to sort of like the committee for backing us to get to that squad slowly but surely. You know, a bit of a cautious approach. I can understand why, but yeah, so I'm delighted and rearing to go for pre-season.
Okay, so Smudge, how difficult has the recruitment phase been with the uncertainty of when the league will start?
Yeah, it's been difficult in terms of bringing new players to the club. Obviously there's a lot of things that are up in the air for players. Obviously we couldn't do a lot of business with new potential targets until contracts were up. But in terms of retaining the players that we wanted to retain, we've done that. We've been able to do that, and that's given us a bit of a head start. So overall, I think it's gone really well, and we've not had any problems at the moment. You know, there are still other potential recruits that we're looking at, and we'll continue to do that between now and pre-season.
Andrew, how important has it been to keep some of the players from last season?
Yeah, I think if you look at successful teams and what have been successful in any level of football, if I take you know, last year obviously Kingsland and Kettering, for example, who got promoted, and Kingsland kept the majority of their squad together, and obviously they've had back-to-back promotions now, and Kettering sort of you know, lads left for one reason or the other. They had a manager change obviously at the start of that season, so they didn't keep as many, and probably that was part of the reason they weren't as successful. I think as well, because we've got a certain way of playing, a philosophy of the football club, I think that when you sort of install that philosophy amongst the players, to keep that continuity is important, and it makes our job easier as managers / coaches to build on them foundations, because the lads understand the expectations of the football club, how we operate in terms of a programme, and what's expected in and out of possession and roles and responsibilities. So for me, it was important to keep the majority of the squad, especially from like I say, that coaching background, so that I know that when we come into seasons, we can recap and keep the good things that we're doing, you know, go over them again, but at the same time, sort of build on them foundations, if you like. So I was delighted to keep the majority of the squad, and like Smudge said, the majority of the players that we wanted to keep, barring probably one, we've kept. So I'm delighted that, and I will say the lads, and I reiterate this, I've said this a couple of times on social media platforms, but the loyalty that the lads have showed in turning down bigger offers, I'm delighted to have that group of players even more so.
Okay, so Smudge, what's targets for the upcoming season?
Obviously we want to be successful. That's the main thing. We do want to be successful. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to win the league. What I will say is we'll give it a good shot, and we'll be expecting our players to give it a good shot, and we'll be hopefully there or thereabouts when the end of the season comes, and hopefully we can try and build on, like what Andy said, on the successes that we had in this season that's just been curtailed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're going to build and keep on building. The goal will be the same, the objective will be the same, and like Andy said, we'll integrate the new players that we have got from his coaching point of view, and they'll fit into the system the way we want to play, and we'll go out and try and produce that attractive football that we were producing last season. And like I said, the ambition and the aim is to be there or thereabouts.
Andrew, how important are the new signings for the 2020/21 season with Shaq McDonald, Tom Tonks, Liam Bateman, Aaron O'Connor and Lyndon Meikle?
Yeah, I think obviously I've seen some fans sort of being concerned about losing certain players in attacking areas, but I think the squad is extremely strong. I'm delighted with the recruitment. If I look at players, Shaq McDonald scored 20 goals in the league last year. He's lightning quick. He goes in behind really well. He's got a cracking attitude. He wants to go higher. He's coming to Tamworth due to he feels that he's going to develop as a player from the coaching programme that we've got in place, or the setup and the way we play football. I think he's a great signing. We nearly signed Shaq last year, so it's something that's been on the radar. And the big man next to me did actually say we should have got him last year, and I have to say that I think he was right in saying that. So we've got him, delighted. Tom obviously came at the back of last year. You know, he's sort of seasoned at this level. He brings a wealth of experience. He can play. He's got a couple of really dangerous weapons. So you know, again, I'm looking forward to working with him. And I think people like Tom Tonks are vital for a long season, and the things that they do probably what go unnoticed, we notice, is going to be very important. In terms of Lyndon and Aaron, I've known both the lads for a while. They sort of come through non-league in Nottingham, and there was sort of in the times inspirational around the Nottingham area because they grafted. They didn't go through the academy route. They grafted sort of behind the scenes and grafting at their game and their trade, and got moves for that graft to professional levels. They've both got promotions from the Conference Prem. Lyndon's won the Conference Prem with Mansfield, and Aaron O'Connor scored the winning goal in the playoff cup final the same year to get Newport promoted. And I think he was top goal scorer in the league in the Conference Prem. And then they've gone on to League Two and played. So they're two hungry players. They just what sort of engaged me about is just their appetite to want to win and their willingness just to want to win things. And that's why they said they've come to Tamworth, because they think we've got a good chance to do well in the league.
Are we looking at getting some loan players, Smudge?
Yeah, we've got, you know, some options in terms of loans. There's contacts already being made. I know that we've got some good friends at some of the professional clubs locally to Tamworth, so we'll also be looking into that loan market as and when the time arrives. But those options are definitely there for us to use if we need them as well.
So if cup matches go ahead this season, we don't know at the moment, would we plan on using a stronger team in one of the cup competitions, or are we going to use a balance?
I think with cup competitions, what I've learned from last year is, because I'm just hungry to win every game, to be honest with you, whether it's the Birmingham Senior Cup or the FA Cup, I just want to win every game, because I think that's important to have that appetite as a group and as a management team. If you don't, there's something wrong. What I've learned though from last season is about managing players in terms of game time, managing injuries, managing sort of the energy levels, and also as a management team sort of making sure that we manage the games programme. And what I found from last year is the more successful, so you have a plan to win every game and try and win everything, and that should be the mindset regardless. So if I look at last season though, when you start to win the games, next minute, you know, you're looking, you've got Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, because you're in cup competition after cup competition. So I think it's about prioritising the cups that you want to win, and at the same time though, when we're signing players, and I've said this from last year, I look at the group that we've got this year, I look at 16, 17 very good players. So it's about having a squad where it's not, oh, well, this player's better than that player. These are 17 quality players on their own right, and they're equally as good as each other. So you earn your right to play, but when you put a team out on the pitch, that if we put out any of them 16 or 17, they should be able to win games. That was the mindset last year, and I think that's why we got to a Birmingham Senior Cup semi-final, we got to the FA Cup fourth qualifying round, and should have got to the first round really. And then we had obviously a good run in the league and was in pole position to win it. So I think that will be sort of, you know, going on all fronts again, but I think it's just having that sort of experience now of managing the players, you know, managing injuries and stuff like that.
How important is team builder to strengthening the squad?
Well, obviously you could see the impact that team builders had last season. If you look at the signings of Lafania Rowe-Turner and Reece Holness, two fantastic players that came to the football club. Reece has departed now, but we've managed to keep Rowe-Turner. So that shows you the importance of team builder when it helps us to get players of the standard and the quality of people like those players who have, you know, done it in leagues, done it at a professional stage as well. and then to have them come to Tamworth and to apply their trade here, it's a fantastic achievement for us as a football club, for us as a management team, and without the team builders' help, obviously we wouldn't be able to do that. So team builder for us is highly important, very important. It's something that's high on our agenda, and long may it continue. We can't thank them enough, we can't praise the team builder committee enough for the work that they put in, and for the funds that they actually raise to help go towards our squad is absolutely unbelievable. So we thank them very much, and we want that to continue. It's a really important part of what we do.
I've got a question now for both of you. What's it been like working with Tom Bailey this season?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think honesty is always the best policy. And I think the fan said, you know, something at the start of, you know, he was a manager previously at another club, and he's coming, and people are saying, oh, he's coming to take the job, blah blah, and at the time, and it's not been like that. In terms of like, I think you grow to work with someone. What I will say is that me and Smudge had a really strong connection. We both come into the job. You know, our sort of experience was questioned, and we did really well the first year. So, and I think we had a common goal. If I'm wrong, Smudge, tell me. But so it's taking that opportunity and also working and grafting for family. So when I spoke to Smudge and seen sort of like his background, sort of what he aspires to do, what his motivations are in terms of his success in football, and why it's a family, and he's taking that opportunity, inspirational. Because when I look at the stage where my wife and kids have come from a difficult background, I wanted to sort of help them and help my dad not work anymore. So because of that strong bond, I think that connection come, even though we didn't know each other before, it was sort of when Tom's come, it's like, well, we've got a really strong bond here. So, you know, they say choose company, please crap. But Tom's got like, as the time's gone on, he's got like a different skill set from me. So I've learned some things in terms of recruitment, knowing the amount of clubs that he does, and he's sort of like got a sense of humour about him, and sort of like what's happened is the season's gone on, the relationship's built, and I think sometimes it's not always easy, but I think that sometimes you have to say, well, what's best for the football club, and you have to sort of like put that as paramount. So me for one, sort of like as the time's gone on, Tom's grew on me in that sense, and I've seen sort of his expertise in different avenues, probably from Smudge, where Smudge's man-to-man management is excellent, my tactical and technical detail is excellent. Then you've got Tom sort of different behind the scenes, a bit more experience in terms of knowing the league, knowing players, recruiting, knowing financial budgets and stuff like that. So I think the relationship, people are calling it Three Amigos now, and I think that's because maybe the relationship that people are seeing is as an whole as it grows. You know, and sometimes what will happen is we have sort of lock horns sometimes, but at the end of the day, when we do lock horns, it's for the betterment of the club. And what I will say is that generally what we're coming out with the right answer, if that makes sense, for the betterment of the club. So I think that, you know, that for me, that's been the progression, and it's working. At the end of the day, the results are there, and the club's growing in all things. So I'd say it's been a positive, all-round situation. I don't know what.
I think he's answered it. He's answered it for me. I mean, like Andy said, obviously that bond that we had was always there, and we've kept it, and we've included Tom in that now, and you know, and I think the three of us, like Andy said, we might not always see eye to eye on things, but we always seem to work out a way where we can all come together and agree on a subject, you know, because nobody is ever going to be right about everything, you know, so sometimes you've got to take on board other people's opinions, and that's been a good thing. It's also been a good leveler for me and Andy, I think, because, you know, obviously, like Andy said, our experience was questioned, and then, you know, the club announced Tom Bailey. Tom Bailey's got a wealth of experience, he's got 1,000,001 contacts, you know, he knows so many people, he's got a crazy sense of humour, which is absolutely brilliant, and a lot of the things he says, you know, keeps me on my toes, keeps Andy on his toes as well. And like I said, sometimes you need a different opinion to try and reach where you actually want to get to. So sometimes me and Andy might not agree on something, and I might phone Tom, or Andy might ask Tom a question, what do you think about this? And that's the way we come to, you know, to work together, and it works and it's working and it's fine. And like Andy said, it's the Three Amigos. What can I say?
I've got to bring some bodyguards with me though, because like when we have discussions, have you seen the size of these two compared to me? Like bullied here in the room.
God. Right, Andrew, how important have the supporters been this season? Well, last season.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm glad you've asked me that question. I think the supporters here, they sort of say it as it is, so they can be the 12th man. What I've noticed is how galvanised the supporters are, especially away from home. So away from home, there's a real sort of togetherness. If I look at some celebrations, you know, at Needham Market, the season before when we won, and if I look at the Hereford game, I sort of galvanised the awards. And if I see the numbers that they travelled into Ensford, I think it was around the Christmas period, New Year's, yeah. If I look at sort of the Bromsgrove game when we travelled away at top of the table clash, what I'd say is they're really, really good away from home. They're really galvanised. And down here, sometimes we'll get sort of 700-800, and some games we've had 14, 15, 1600 for FA Cup games, and it feels like 3,000 to 5,000. So I think they can make the difference. What I will say is that also is they keep the players on their toes, because I remember being top of the league and we've come against games with Trinity losing 2-1 at half time, and they're booing us, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? Like, we're top of the league at the moment, like, you know. And I think at the same time is their expectation levels for Tamworth are really, really high, and it's to maintain that, but just sometimes that, you know, the lads never come out to play bad, and just keep that support, because when they are supporting and they're really behind, it makes a difference to the team. When we're winning at home and we go 1-0 up and the supporters get behind, and we end up winning like sometimes 3-4, and that's because of the extra energy levels. When we're losing 1-0, it's just that I know we want to see good football, but teams won't roll over for Tamworth. It's just keeping that sort of like get behind sort of attitude. But in the bar as well, like they're brilliant with me and Smudge, and the players come back and talk to them now. They're good with the players, and I'm really delighted that more fans are coming, and you know, and I can feel that sort of feel good factor. And we have had some great conversations with the fans, and they're quite honest and blunt, but it's a good thing. Yeah.
Right, and then finally, what challenges might we face in the new season?
Definitely, obviously, you know, it's going to be even harder for us to be successful this season. And obviously teams are doing their homework, teams are building their squads, you know, putting their squads together. And I think that is going to probably be one of the biggest challenges that we face. Obviously the opposition are going to get stronger, and we're just going to have to deal with it. I think the experience of what the season that's just gone has been fantastic for me and Andrew. It's been a learning curve. I've learned so much in such a short time. There's a lot of things that we went through, you know, in this last season that I know we won't be doing again. So in terms of those challenges, we already know how to eliminate those, because you know we've experienced them already. So there's things that happened last season I know we won't let happen again this season, and that will stand us in good stead, because time is of the essence. Yeah. And neither of us or Tom has the time to waste on things that are really non-important, when really the squad is the most important thing, the way they play is the most important thing, the coaching, the man management, and everything that we do with the squad, that is going to be the most important thing. That's the biggest challenge for us this season, galvanising that squad again, putting them out on that training park and building a philosophy and a way of we want to play. For me, that's going to be the biggest challenge, but I do believe it's one that we can successfully overcome. We can knit those new players into what we've already got, and I do believe, like I said before, Archie, you know, the aim is to be there or thereabouts, and it's going to be harder, but I think myself and Andy and Tom, the players in the squad, will be up and ready for it, because there'll be no stone left unturned.
Just to add to that as well, like with the staff members, that's a great question, because with the staff members I've got in, it's not just like what goes on the pitch. There's some shout-outs like Manzu coming in off season to treat players. You know, Anna Freeman, the amount of analysis that she does, brilliant. The goalkeeping coach, brilliant. You know, general manager, the amount of work in terms of conversations we have to sort out things. The committee in terms of Bob and Steve. So the media team, what they put together for us in terms of, you know, making players feel welcome and sort of how professional it is. So here for me, the challenge is that we've been really successful for 18 months. And in terms of results on the pitch, and when I hear things like, oh, you know, it's sort of a one season wonder, that's engaging for me as a manager. I'm looking forward to that challenge, to prove to people that it's not a one-hit wonder, and if anything, to go and work harder and even better this year and take more time to be successful. At the same time, to keep what we're doing, but to build on what we've done, like I've mentioned before, in terms of the squad we've got. And the reason I say that is because when I hear other sort of, like, without mentioning names, other sort of football clubs mentioning that we've got budgets of £10,000 and stuff like that, which is way off. It's not even, it's not even half of that sometimes. So when they say that, sort of, that engages me, that ignites me inside in terms of fire. Because what it sort of feels to me when they say that is like, wait a minute here, you're sort of trying to downbeat what we've done last year in terms of success or the achievement that we've had. Yeah. So for me, it's about to say, right, we're going to graft even more in a difficult situation with COVID and the impact that it's had on football, and we're going to graft even more to be better and the best that we can be. And that's the focus and the challenge for me. So like, I'm burning even more than last year because of all, I feel we've got unfinished business in terms of the promotion. And that's why when Gaz says we'll be there or thereabouts, like, I'm engaged to ensure that I go over and beyond every minute of every week to make that happen. Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining me tonight, and hopefully we'll catch up with you guys soon. If you don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn post notifications on, and hopefully we'll have another match to record soon.